All right, good morning. It's another edition of the Hi5 series presented by the DH podcast. It's August 12th. And our first two, for those of you that are new to joining us, before I get started with anything, for those of you that are new, first off, thank you. Second off, what the Hi5 series is a platform where it allows for myself or any other contributors of the podcast to be able to come on Monday, Wednesday, or Friday and to be able to talk about the top 5 things that are happening, whether it's weird news or important news or news that the media really isn't giving a whole lot of credence to, or it got pushed down or it got swept under the rug, and why that actually matters. But it's all done in under 15 minutes. So try to give it to you with as much information as possible quickly without putting your brain in an absolute pretzel. All right. For those of you that are not new, we just dropped a new episode on Monday. So feel free to go to Spotify or Apple. So if you want something more than 15 minutes and you want multiple of us instead of just one on video at a time, then find us Spotify, Apple, wherever you get podcasts from. That's where we're at too, the DH podcast. All right, getting into it. Number 1 and number 2, I'm going to combine them however you want to dice it, whether you want to talk about the Big Ten and Pac12 or you want to talk about fall college football versus spring college football. It's just all wrapped up into one right now. So yesterday, we talked about this on Monday, that it was just rumored, but it is official as of yesterday afternoon that both the Big Ten and the Pac12 have suspended their football seasons for the fall. Now, I'm using the air quotes for a very specific reason, because spring football is not going to be easy. You're asking for players to play in the spring and then have a extremely short break, because you got to remember, a lot of these, especially at Power 5 schools, they're staying at their college. They're not going home over the summer so they can train, so they can be with the football program. Or if they are going home, it's for like 2 weeks. And it's not a very long time, because they're going to come back and they're immediately going to get back into the grind. Whatever the NCAA rules dictate, they're going to push those to the limits. So not only are we going to have a spring football season, which we've never had, we're also going to go back into a normal football season so that the Big Ten and the Pac-12 can catch up. A couple problems there. One, that really screws with any not scheduling, but especially health issues. So we're doing this to protect players' health and safety by pushing it to the spring. But now we're asking them to play 2 full seasons back to back. So their gauntlet will be more games than an NFL player's. Seem dicey? Well, it most certainly is. But also, if they do play a spring football season, then there is no trophy. There's no championship. There's no college football playoffs. Here's what happens when you play in the spring. You win your conference, and that's it. You could maybe do something fun, round robin, with for right now, the Big Ten and the Pac-12. They could do like a, facing off each week and, doing, COVID Cup or whatever you want to call it. It's not the national championship. And you know who's going to get to play in the national championship? ACC with Notre Dame in it. Big 12, SEC. That's what we're looking at right now, because we got the Big 12 late last night, and we got the SEC and the ACC coming out and saying, all right, we are planning on still playing fall football. So not only does that ease the competition, and essentially that really just takes Ohio State out. If you're thinking about possible college football playoff contenders, that kicks Ohio State out, right? But who else would be we can really Ohio State's number 1. If you want to round out the top 5 of contenders, we could talk about Wisconsin, we could talk about Michigan, we can go ahead and talk about USC if you really want to. With those, we're really pushing it. But essentially, we're eliminating some competition for Clemson, for Alabama, for LSU, for Oklahoma. That's what we're eliminating competition for. And that's not fair to those students. So at the moment, I have no idea, and this is something that I'm excited to see how this plays out. I don't know how we're going to deal with eligibility. Are we going to give these kids one more year of eligibility? If so, do they even want it? Or do players like Justin Fields, they just want to come out and go in the draft? Because somebody's going to take him. He might not be a top 5 draft pick or a top 10 draft pick like he had the opportunity to be, but he'll still get taken nonetheless, and he'd be a valuable asset. So that's what we have to think about here. But also, not only just eligibility, especially if they don't grant eligibility, it is going to be a madhouse in the transfer portal. Just sheer madhouse, because we've seen extenuating circumstances where players had the opportunity to play and still, in between seasons, they don't have to sit out a season. We've seen it happen before, and this would most certainly be an extenuating circumstance that causes that as well. So, fall football still happening on this hand. We're still going to have your college football playoff. Fall of 2020. Spring of 2021, now we're going to have some weird Big Ten, Pac12 right now at the moment. Things change every day. When you win your conference, what do? Are you going to have the conference winners face off against each other? I mean, that's just not fun. All right. Then after the spring of 21, we're expecting the Big Ten and the Pac-12 to be able to snap their fingers. Oh, and then they're going to play in the fall of 21 as well. So you want to talk about injury concerns. You want to talk about pushing kids past their limits. It's going to be really difficult on that end as well. All right, let's see here. We are moving on. Trailblazers, holy cow. Trailblazers move into sole control of the 8 seed. This is amazing because everybody's like, well, Memphis is just going to coast. They're just going to do this. Dame Lillard and Melo told you to go screw yourselves. They said, no. We got this, guys. So, not only did they beat the Mavs in a head-to-head matchup, your number 7 seed, by knocking them down, but you also eliminated, at the moment, Memphis out of the 8 seed contention, and they're taking sole possession of the 8 seed. That's incredible because you can tell that out of those 3 teams, Portland is the best chance to give a Lakers the run for the money. Are they going to win? No. But you now see the chance to where we can see a far better matchup of experienced veterans, talented superstars, actually giving that 1 seed, already locked up to be the Lakers, a run for the money. Plain and simple. You love to see it. You love to see it because as much as I love Ja Morant, people that know me know I've been Ja Morant stan. I've written blogs. I've done the whole 9 yards. That the Trailblazers can just give the Grizzlies a better... Trailblazers can give the Lakers a better run than the Grizzlies. Simple as that. All right. So now we're on to number 4. Whew, we are moving today, folks. 6 hours, 5 overtimes, 4th longest NHL game. Blue Jackets, Tampa Bay Lightning faced off last night. That game started at 6 p.m. It felt like it would never end. Lightning ended with 3 goals. Blue Jackets ended with 2. That's how you ended game 1 of the first round. So that's what I love about NHL playoffs. Anything can happen. You see so many people on Twitter saying, well, make it 4-for-4, make it shootouts. No, this is just the boys playing. And you would also see, a fun fact for you, out of all of the players, 3 of them now joined in the top 10 of total minutes for a game. With Seth Jones clocking in at over 65 minutes. So he was literally skating for over an hour last night. I mean, it's incredible is not doing it enough justice. Simply put. So what we have here is you're either going to see a goal. When we're looking at game 2 for this series, it's either going to be 1-0 or it's going to be 7-0 because both of these teams are so gassed, but they're both healthy at the same point in time. So this now gives them a chance to look themselves in the mirror and say, all right, well, we got to turn it around, and I hope they are all getting a whole hell of a lot of rest tonight because they are going to need it. Luckily, they don't have a back-to-back. That would be disastrous for both teams as well, even if you lost. It is demoralizing, but knowing that you stayed in it for 8 periods is pretty damn impressive, regardless. All right, our last one. This goes to the Cleveland Indians, Clevinger and Plesac. Buddy, you want to talk about some scumbag moves. These two are the epitomes of it. Now, I am admittedly a Mike Clevinger fan. I love what he does on Twitter. I love his game, the flow. You see him riding around downtown Cleveland in scooters all the time. It's just fun. He's out there. He's for the people. He's with the people. But apparently, he's with the people a little too much. Because over the weekend, over the weekend, the Indians faced off in Chicago. And what did Mike and Zach do? Well, Mike and Zach thought it'd be a nice idea to go out and be outside in Chicago. And this is what the MLB players had fought for. They said, "Oh, we don't need a bubble. We can handle it." And then the owners were like, "That's fine. You don't want a bubble. We'll make so much more money. Please don't go to a bubble." So it's exactly what they did. But now you get idiots like these two that are breaking it, and then they're getting caught trying to come back into the hotel room. So that's where Plesac was caught, and they just made him drive home alone. They said, "You know what? You're going to have to quarantine. Take this car. Go the hell back to Cleveland. Drive back to Cleveland." So that's what he had to do Sunday morning. Mike Clevinger, on the other hand, was not caught, nor did he admit to what he was doing. There's your two biggest offenses. Being caught, not admitting to what you did. And actually, I take that back, because what he did next is even worse than not admitting to what he did. He then got on the team plane, and he flew home with them. You have no idea who you were out with the night before, and now you're on the team plane flying home, and you could be transmitting to the entire team. Just let that sink in. How irresponsible and reckless that is for anybody to do that. And to put their team in a position to where they are missing games and in turn can be missing a shot at the postseason because their record will not have enough games to it. It's ridiculous. And no apology, no nothing. But he eventually admitted to the team, and of course they moved him out. And we don't know where this goes from here. I assume we will see some type of suspension for both of them. I mean, I'm not giving Plesac any kudos or pat on the back for getting caught. Who knows? Maybe he and Clevinger would have made a blood pact and would have never told anybody. And then their teammate, who had just gotten released recently from doing chemotherapy for leukemia, putting him at farther risk. It's disgusting. And it's just goes to show that there are people that truly do not care. It's not whether you're anti-mask or you're anti-vax, anti-whatever the hell. Just that you don't care about your teammates' well-being. Simple as that. You put yourself above everybody else. I get it. Now we all understand. And that's shitty, but that's how the world spins. All right. We've got a huge slate of games as we come into the weekend. So, while it's only Wednesday, we're already looking ahead to the weekend. So, keep in mind, NHL's raging on. They actually are starting before noon. We had games get postponed last night because of how long the Jackets Lightning game was taking. So, you're going to see games start even earlier today. Hockey throughout the day. You're going to be seeing basketball, especially throughout the afternoon and into the night. MLB, same deal as the NBA. So always be watching out for it. Another note was that the Blue Jays finally played their first home game. I mean, guys have played 20 games so far this MLB season, and the Blue Jays have not gotten to play in a home game. By the way, it's not in their home stadium because Canada kicked them out. So They're playing in the Buffalo. It's Buffalo, New York, but it's the Bison is their AAA affiliate, and that's where they're playing. I mean, how this doesn't get talked about enough because the Canadian government doesn't respect them and kicks them out. So I hope for any grants or any assistance that they're giving to the government that they don't give it to them. Simple as that. And as an added bonus, number 6 on in that one for you guys. But again, this has been the Hi5 series presented by the DH podcast. Again, we've got a new episode that is fresh, so feel free to go and find it, especially just subscribe or follow. I follow on Spotify. I subscribe on YouTube so that when new things come out, it's the first thing that pops up on my feed. So I can say, oh, sweet, these guys are back. Love it. All right, everybody, have a safe day, and we will catch you guys soon. Peace.